combine small town roots with business savvy, and you've got the Rural Rundown podcast. We're sharing our marketing and branding strategies, tips, and tricks that rural businesses can use to educate, inspire, and entertain their customers, and to help you make sales and hit profit goals. So what does it take to go from your mom is your only fan to famous in a small town? Tune in and listen up as we feature business owners and organizations that are doing big things in their community and creating opportunities for generations to come.
Welcome back to another episode of the Rural Rundown podcast. Brenna, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm enjoying the air conditioning now that I'm back here in Arizona.
I bet you are. Yes, I can't believe it's already towards the end of July.
I know it.
And that's kind of wild.
It's insane. The summers seem to have flown by. And, when we were young, our parents always said, like, time goes fast, or, like, the years are fast. Oli and I say to each other all the time, like, the days are long, but the years are short. And that is so true.
Yeah. Yes, it is. We went on a family vacation for the first time, like, far road trip. We went to the Black Hills with Jaron, and that was really fun. But definitely having that, like, week off makes everything, like a little time warp speed that's like, oh man, here we are.
Yep.
Back to work.
Yep. I hear you. But we are back with a new guest this week on our podcast. Rach, tell us about the guest we have.
So we had Vanessa Torke. She owns Nessa's Naturals. She has a really cool story where she kind of started making this product where she'll talk more about first for friends and family, then started kind of doing pop-ups, transitioned to online store, then a brick and mortar store in Marshall, Minnesota. So I think it's kind of like, I think her story is beautiful, and she's just got so much spunk and like feistiness. I think it makes her really engaging and endearing to her customers, and that she's got really built a tribe over the past couple years. And it was really a fun conversation. Did you have a favorite part talking with her?
I did. My favorite part was, if people see the YouTube video or the video that we put out, I hope they see and notice, but she was wearing a pajama top, and part of what she does in her brick and mortar is all about making people feel good and making them feel good about themselves and be comfortable. And so she had this dressed up pajama top that neither of us would have guessed was a pajama top, with a blazer over top. And she's like, this is what it's all about. Like, who isn't comfortable and feeling great and feeling their best selves when they're comfortable and they're in their pajamas? And I'm like, absolutely. Especially now with all the work from home, the virtual meetings, stuff like that, the perfect time for people to just be dressing up their pajama tops. I loved that.
Yes. And I really like too, she talks about this, and I don't want to like ruin it or spoil it, but she talks about how people started noticing when she kind of started taking care of herself and dressing for herself. It wasn't for anyone else. And I really feel like that's kind of a superpower to tap into. So I hope you guys enjoy listening to that and get that same kind of thing out of this episode. It's really fun. So go ahead and tune in. I met you through Allison, my old boss. That's kind of how I got to know you. And I know a little bit of your story, but I want you to kind of share, how did Nessa's Naturals start? And then like where you are today. Can you kind of give me the background
memory
story?
lane? Okay. Yep. So the beginning would probably be around 14 years ago. My youngest, who's going to be 15 at the end of the month, when he was little, I used to get like Martha Stewart magazines or something like that, and magazines were a huge print thing. And I remember flipping through it because I was looking for recipes, I was a stay-at-home mom. And I tried to go back to work a few months after my first child was born in 2000, and she was born December 2000. So 2001, I started staying at home when she was about 5 months. It just worked out better for us that I was home. And then fast forward, I have another daughter born in 2003, and then my son 2006. But back to the Martha Stewart type magazines, I think that's what it was. I'm not even certain. Anyway, among all the recipes, there was a recipe for like lip balm, and I was like, I could probably do that. And I remember ordering all the ingredients, making it, and I think it was like a peppermint one, and I loved it. And then the wheels started spinning a little bit, but it took a few years because you have to, well, you're never really brave enough. So at that time, Etsy was huge, and Etsy was one of the, I would order handcrafted soaps, or I would order beauty care products or something from these different Etsy sellers where they were still, it was handcrafted only. I think now they've branched out into other areas. And again, the wheels started spinning, and I'm like, you know, sometimes you think I could maybe do that better. I know that doesn't sound very humble, but it's kind of like one of those things where if you want something, all your skin concerns to be addressed, because children's skin is sensitive, and there's different times in your life where yours could be too. I was like, gosh, I wonder if I couldn't do this myself. And 2010, I had a little bit of a push from a family member because I started making like lotion bars, and then I'd add a little of the mica sparkle to lip balms, and that's what I gave as gifts. And I was a MOPS leader too, and they were all scrapbookers or crafters or whatever, and I'm like, I'm not creative. And they're like, yeah, you are. You gave us presents and we use them. I use my little lip gloss all the time. So that kind of started it, and I started going to different craft shows. And then there was a River Valley Spa in Granite Falls. She was a massage therapist who owned River Valley Spa, and she started carrying my Nessa products there. And I had known her from several years before, and so we're still friends, and she's a great cheerleader. And so it started with River Valley Spa, and then eventually there was other retail locations. And I had a bare bones website. It was workable, it was functional, it didn't cost very much a month, so it was fantastic. And I did ship all around the world. Dubai, I think, is the farthest. I did the United Kingdom, Germany, so there was several international. Canada a lot. So it just kept building and building. And then I think back to 2011, so 1 year as I'm adding retailers, there was a store called Italy Ava that was opening here in Marshall, Minnesota. I had met the mother of the store owner that spring when I was starting to do all these craft shows, and she came over to my table, and she liked what she saw, and she's like, well, this spring my daughter wants to do this. And so I had to sit down with the owner of Italy Ava, and I was making products for her store, and the response in Marshall, Minnesota was huge. So that got the wheels spinning again, where I was like, you know, if I ever opened a store, it would be in Marshall, Minnesota. So that was 2011 when I like declared that, or was like, you know, God, that's a dream. And yeah, out of all the retail locations where I was at, I had to restock Marshall, Minnesota the most. And eventually that business changed names. I can't remember what year, but they eventually became Cocoa Avenue, which is still a strong boutique here in town. And the owner and I are still friends. Like, she was carrying Nessa's until early 2018. And I had done different projects over the years. So I had set aside, I had ceased doing several different lines of business, or I had of products at the time. And I remember 2017 being, I didn't know what was next. I wasn't doing as many retail locations anymore, just because of other projects were too demanding. And when when those different projects ended, I was like, well, what am I going to do? So there was probably, it was 2017, because I remember I wasn't very happy, or I was a little depressed during my 40th birthday, because I was like, what do you do? And I get a little emotional because I remember sitting on my couch doing nothing, and I was miserable, and I was like, I'm a mom or a go-getter. I'm like, you cannot do this. Well, thankfully, the Lord answered my pleas, like, what's next? I had reached out to a friend late spring 2018, and she was an artist, and I asked her if she would make a custom painting for my husband for Father's Day. And I wanted there to be hay bales, horses, you know, something country. I had a blank space on my wall, and I had this vision, and I reached out to her. Well, it was a late Father's Day that year. A week later, her and her husband delivered it, and he still commuted to Marshall and worked. And as they were delivering it, I found out that he was one of the owners of a co-owner of many of the buildings downtown Marshall that is called Coleman Management. And I remember saying to Katie, is her name, and her husband, I said, you know, I kind of want to do this natural store. I've had this idea. And she's like, well, I've actually have a natural store written on one of the stores I would like to see downtown Marshall. And I was like, I guess that's me.
Oh, wow.
So if that's not a confirmation. So it was the week after Father's Day. So shortly after July 4th, I went into 105 North 3rd Street. The location, it was lime green inside, false ceilings. There was this office. I mean, I looked at it and I was like, do you do any demo? Well, we'll talk about that. And then they took me to one other location, but I kept going back to the 105 North 3rd Street. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm really liking this. And they told me number wise what like rent would be and stuff like that. And Mike and I kept in contact via email. And then it was around, I think it was July 11th. I have this weird thing with numbers. He said, hey, I want you to meet Brad at that location. Show Brad what you would like for demo wise, what your vision is. Just tell him your vision and we'll go from there. So I met Brad, and Brad was like, well, we can take out this wall, we can take out this, we can do this, we can do that. And I'm like, well, could you have it ready for my birthday? When's your birthday? October 13th. I think we can do that. So I signed the lease that day, and I remember saying to Brad, I am scared. I'm scared. And Brad's like, well, that's a good time to do it then. So my hashtag was like, do it scared after that. And it's still scary. I'm still scared, but I have great support, family, friends, and employees. So they're probably my biggest cheerleaders. And we moved in the 1st of October, and my first employee, Amy, I'll refer to her as Sweet Amy, because she was an employee at Italy Ava years ago. So when I was praying about, I can't do this alone, Amy kept popping into my head. So I was like, Amy, what are you doing? And she was working part-time, but she was willing. That's the whole point. She was willing. So Amy and I started setting everything up. My husband joined in, a family friend joined in, and we opened October 12th, was like a soft opening. And I did the grand opening right away. I'm like, started off with a bang. Why not? The only thing we didn't have done was the outside of the boutique was still orange and no sign yet. Yeah, you were there.
Yes.
Rachel was at the grand opening weekend. And because of bad weather. So grand opening started on a Friday into the Saturday. It was awesome. I remember crying. I'm such a baby. I'm an emotional person. I remember crying after the grand opening for gratitude and thankfulness. And oh my goodness, I better order. So needless to say, it was a successful grand opening. And I had perfect timing. I mean, come on, the last quarter of 2018, or God had perfect timing. I'm just a vessel and I don't take credit for everything. I mean, he wants willing people, right? But I do remember there's that point where after you sign a lease, and I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to order? And that's where I wanted clothes. Clothes are popular, but I didn't want any clothes. So I was like, oh my gosh, after you put on your Nessas in the shower, in the bathtub, you put on jammies. I'm ordering pajamas. That will be the theme. Comfy, cozy, jammies, loungewear. We do a casual cozy. I'm actually wearing, and I know this is a podcast, but this is a cami that goes with pajama pants. But I had a business meeting before that, so I'm showing how to wear it many different ways.
I love it.
So that's what it came into, pajamas. And that's what a lot of people, they come in and they're like, I hear you have pajamas. So, and we do a lot of luxury loungewear. So the price ranges are more into the mid to upper range. I've tried to have some lower prices and they do sell all right, but people, there's certain things they want the touch, they want the feel. And I do pat myself on the back to the point where Nessa's, the number of items sold, Nessa's is still number one every single month since I've opened.
It outdoes your pajamas.
It does.
That's what you're saying.
It does. I mean, You're talking, granted, it doesn't always do it retail price wise, because we're talking $4 lip balms. You know, my most expensive item is a $28 fancy rose toner. So we're talking, you know, but items sold has always been Nessa's since day one. And since then, trying to keep up with the days I wasn't at the boutique, I was restocking and making more Nessas, which I do love the production part. In the sense of, for creativity, it's a great outlet for me. Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit of a visionary. So sometimes I see the final product before I see the process. And sometimes the process, I'm not a very patient person. Mm-hmm. So, but I've messed up on a lot of recipes, yes. But through the holiday season and then into 2019, and there was, being the top seller was Nessa's. Then this holiday season was actually really wonderful. More people were staying at home. More people were focused on shopping small due to all the events going on around the world. You know, the heart of my customers and the community has really shown. So the support is amazing. And from December 2019 versus December 2020, there was over double of the Nessa's products sold in December alone. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. So early December, I had reached out to my landlords and I said, I need a place for a workshop. Because mind you, all of this is out. I have a home office. I have a home kitchen. So I'm one of those little businesses that you hear that I started from my home. I started from my own kitchen. I did. And I'm like, I can't keep doing this, especially around the holiday season where I remember it's chaotic. I come home from helping out at the store. I need to whip up another batch of scrubs because they're flying off the shelves. And I know this is all a great problem to have. I turn on the water for the coffee pot. I forget about that. And I've got water all over my kitchen while I'm, a batch of scrubs is going. And I'm like, okay. So my landlords were like, they're like, you know, I do have a place in mind. There's several options. So where we are now is we're in our little office space here at the workshop. And I did a walkthrough with my landlord like that first week of December. And I was like, this is a lot of space. Wow, you know, we could do so much here. And Brad and I just kept in touch, and he came and he would see me at the store and we would visit, and he's like, well, what's ideal for you? And I'm like, well, I would really like to move in sometime this spring. He's currently not the owner, but he helped be a vehicle to get into this space. So my current landlords are wonderful. I moved in officially May 1st was when my lease then began here at the workshop. Husband built a lot of different shelvings and storage, and he'll laugh, or I don't know if he'll hear this, but I said, I would really like you to build me some shelving, please, over at the workshop. Well, if it gets you crap out of the house, sure. So I would say about 75% of the stuff is here, and moved in the first week of May, which is also a busy week at the store with Mother's Day. Mm-hmm. Mom needs jammies, people. She just does. So it ended up, thankfully, the transition here was so smooth. The shelving was done. Thank you, hubby, that I was able, from like Wednesday on, there were able to be 2 of us at the store. Men were shopping early this year for Mother's Day, so I was impressed. Both of my employees, well, I have more. I employ all women. We're all women run, women owned. And so that's exciting too, to be able to say that. Amy and Terry, they both, they did contracts to start with production. Gotta keep my proprietary secret. Oh, yeah. So they are loving it. They love it. They're more, they love people, but they're a little bit more introverted than I am. So they really enjoy this process, where I'm maybe impatient and want to see the end result. They enjoy the stirring, the mixing, the beating, all of it. And they do tell me that. So I'm very thankful that I found the right people too. When one of the things I'm most proud of making is called a Beloved lipstick and a Beloved lip gloss. And that particular 2 products have been making for almost 6 years now. And every tube sold, the proceeds go to Hope Harbor here in Marshall, Minnesota, which is a ministry for teens. And it's like a purchase with a purpose. Did I say that right? Yes. And I have this industrial mold for the lipsticks, and we were just I like to make 100 at a time, because, you know, math wise, formulation wise, is the easiest. And I remember they were in awe as I was opening up the mold so they could see each of the tubes of the mold for the lipstick to go into the tube. And they loved that. And so we did a little, Amy's really good with TikTok, and she's really good with videos for TikTok. So she was shooting the videos in a little bit of the different stages, and it got put on TikTok, but then she always sends me the video when she's done. Yep. And so I put that on like Insta story, Instagram, and Facebook, and that got a huge response. Yeah. So, and the thing about Beloved is a color, one color, either in your gloss finish or your creamy lipstick finish, that looks great on everybody. It's like a mauve gold. So you having more auburn skin, you know, auburn hair and a little bit of a redder skin tone, it'll look great on you. You know, Rachel here with her blonde hair and fair complexion, great on her. I have seen it on darker skin tones, whether they were African-American or Hispanic, and it looks good on everyone. So I love that inclusivity about it. I don't know where I came up with it, but I just did.
So it just happened and it kind of became
I wanted something that would look good on everybody.
Wow.
And so I had it in my head, but then again, I had to go through the process. So I use mineral micas for my colors. So they're dye-free, petroleum-free. And I just started mixing, and it just came up. And then the name, Beloved, I didn't know what I was going to call it yet. And then I went to a Beth Moore conference, like a teleconference here in town, here in Marshall. And it was within 10 minutes, the word beloved, like if you tried to look up in the Bible as a reference for beloved, it is said too many times in scripture, because we are his beloved. And there's not really one scripture that you could nail it to. And I was like, I have to call it beloved. So that's where the name came from.
That's beautiful. It's like such an inclusive name as well. Like it seems to just fit so many people.
Right. So Beth Moore conference for that. And literally these little light bulbs go off, and I'm 43, going to be 44 this year. So, you got to grab that wisdom or smart ideas, light bulbs, when you have the chance. So, otherwise, that's kind of what's been going on. So I've either been here at the workshop training, or I have been doing 1 or 2 days a week at the store. My 17-year-old daughter, she has been working 1 day a week. Amy's 17-year-old daughter has been working 1 day a week. And Faithy, my daughter, she has been helping at the store since it opened. But now she's alone 1 day a week. So I drove her nuts when it was her first day alone. Yes, Mom. Okay, Mom. Other than the summer is flying by. So there's a little things we've been able to do for the future wise. I brought back my Sweet Baby collection. That got put on the back burner, opening the store. I had to really narrow. I went from like 20 sugar scrub scents to like 6.
Wow.
So I had to really narrow down like the best sellers. And then I do some limited edition scents. Like we have some great summer scents. So now, and then we have few plans for different lines in the future, but can't give away my secrets. You just have to stay tuned and see what's next.
Could we talk about your process a little bit? Because you went from a Martha Stewart magazine and having this idea of even creating a natural lip balm to now, are these all just, you've kind of taken this experience of making a natural lip balm and you've created your own recipes, or have you learned from other people?
Of course, learning from other people. Like the Martha Stewart lip balm, that is not what I sell today. It is now called Silky Lips. I was having issue, and this is like where your trial and error comes. So the original lip balm had mango butter, and the thing about mango butter is if it's not heated and cooled during the right amount of time, it kind of crystallizes and feels gritty. And I was not happy with the grittiness. And I mean, you put it on and you feel a little bit of the grittiness, but then it gets smooth. But a lot of people, your first impression is, swiping it on. And I really cannot remember what year Silky Lips came about, but I call it Silky Lips Balm. Silky Lips Shine has a little bit of that mica to it. And yeah, definitely trial and error. There's different ideas out there. Different recipes, there's a whole do it yourself, Pinterest. Like people can do all sorts of stuff. And I may take something that I see and just tweak it so it becomes mine. Or I still love using mango butter, but now maybe I'll use a refined version that is not as coarse for a body butter, or now the sugar scrubs are one of the top seller too. And there's mango butter in there, but the gravy factor doesn't really matter when you're putting in sugar. So, and it's still creamy. It still feels good. It still softens the skin.
Awesome. I love your pajama top too. And I think that's so fitting for people that are working from home, or even 2020 in general, to be like able to throw on a blazer. And from Zoom, I never would have guessed that you're wearing a pajama top.
I am. And then even the long sleeve ones, they go great with jeans or capris or shorts, and you're cozy up top, and the prints are cute enough where nobody would be like, that's a pajama top. And I'm like, it totally is. Which, selling a higher priced pajama top, when I talk about your wash per wear or your cost per wear, you're getting more uses for it. And the reason I have on what I have on is because I'm going to go over to the store in a little bit, and I'm going to have my employee take a picture of me looking business ready. Then I'll throw over a jean jacket looking date night ready, and then I'll add the matching pajama pants, and then I will be wearing it as is. So now you have 3 different ways to wear one cami or a pajama top that you might not spend that money on, but you would when you realize how many ways you can wear it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about this topic because you went live the other day and you were talking about pajama, like you look good when you feel good.
Yes.
So I kind of want you to talk about your philosophy on that too with pajamas, because I mean, of course you can just wear like a t-shirt that's 20 years old to bed, but what's that kind of, what do you say about that?
Well, I had seen that my girlfriend sent me this TikTok just a couple days ago, and there was this mom. She was 4 months postpartum. She was still putting on maternity shorts. She was still putting on this tank top that had a little milk stain or whatever, breast milk stain or something. She threw her hair like this. And I remember those days. But then I also remember when I started putting a little bit more effort, like it wasn't necessarily because I wanted to look good for my husband or I wanted to look presentable for my kids. It was, I wanted to look presentable for myself. And I was involved with a MOPS leadership. And one of my closest girlfriends, she's like, I started putting an effort into my looks because I saw you were. And so I bring that into pajamas because over the years, so we're looking at this fall will be 3 years open as a store. I have had many women come in and tell me that either their husbands or their significant others are noticing what they wear to bed. And they are liking it. But it all starts with your confidence. Like if you feel cute, people are going to be like, what is up with her? Like there are days where I have my sassy pants on and because I feel cute, people notice the spring in your step. They notice the sparkle in your eye and they notice your smiles. So you don't have to dress up for anyone but yourself. Because they notice.
Yeah. I would love to talk about whether it is like forethought or not, but kind of along the same thing, like the mind work, right? When you look good, you feel good, or when you feel good, you look good, it goes either way. But the same thing about like you setting those intentions to being like, I need to do something with my life and I'm thinking I want to have a downtown space, to then meeting somebody who also has it on their goal list to have a natural store in their downtown spaces. Like, talk to me a little bit about that, like setting the intention or setting goals and kind of how that has come to fruition, whether it's, by your own doing or through God too.
I think that would be right there. Like you can tell God your plans. And I always have this joke, like it's a saying, I'm sure I read it somewhere, that if you tell God your plans, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. Oh yeah. So But also I think when you share your dreams, or even if it's a little bit spark of an idea, you know, you're speaking it. Obviously he's all knowing, so he knows what you're thinking too. Whether you tell him in your thoughts that this is something you would really like to do, or you speak it out loud. I do believe that he has plans for you. And obviously we hope that our plans will eventually jive with his plans or his will. And if it's to be, he will bring it into fruition. I can't talk. Blah, blah, blah. He will bring it about. And I just think that, totally honest, whatever, I love being at the store. I love it. I am obviously an extrovert. I need a little bit of me time and alone time just to regroup, but I love to talk. I love to listen. I love to be with people. I love to smile. I love to laugh. And the whole thing of like the store was I wanted this place where people would come in and they would feel at home, and that there would be a ton of laughter. And that has happened. Like, I know that people are spending their hard-earned money with me, and I really appreciate that. But I want every woman to know, and here I'm getting emotional again, that I see you, God sees you, and I enjoy you coming into the store. Even if it's for, you need a new outfit, you need new jammies, whatever, that you still feel special. So we work on customer service, a lot. And small businesses matter these days, whether, even if it's online or people are coming in the doors, it really does matter these days. And if we can provide that, I have some people that aren't. I have introverts working for me. I have shy people working for me, my own daughter being one of them. And I kind of like bring it out of her a little bit to, ask people if they need any help, things like that. So to wrap up your question, I guess I'm just a willing vessel. So, and it's fun. It is fun. Some days are harder than others, but yeah.
I think it's so neat. Like, as you told your story, going from pop-up to online to retail, mortar, boutique, to now you have this manufacturing space. Like, you do include God in your entire story. Like, you can tell you're faith-filled, and that means so much to you, and it's brought you to this point. And I think it marries into your whole business of having like a purpose with everything you've made.
Right.
Which is just really beautiful and cool. My question to Mary with that would be, I know you use social media. Can you talk to me about how you market this business and share that story? How have you done it, and what's been successful?
So Rachel had mentioned her former boss, Allison, and Allison and I actually met in spring 2011 at a women's expo. So wow, so many things there was Italy Ava, there was different women expos. Allie at the time was not even Allie J Boutique. She was selling scarves, kitty corner to me. And all day we were watching each other. And she'll tell it too. And she came up to my booth and was like, I'm really liking what I see here. And she asked me to pick out a lipstick color that, what I would think that would look good on her. So I did, and it became her go-to color over the years. And she's like, I'm opening a store like this fall or this summer. Like, I would love to talk to you more. And we just started talking through email. And as time went on, so she did carry Nessa's. During some of my bigger projects that I had going on in like 15, 16, around that time, she had approached me and said, I've been doing more, I've been learning more about marketing. I now do web design. she actually, I have a whole new website. Well, not new anymore. That's 5 years ago. 2016, she created a whole new website. And I know that's something, it needs to be updated. So that's on her to-do list. But anyway, so we became friends. And I just saw her last week too for a photo shoot. And we commented on it that we wear so many hats for each other. I'm a customer of hers. She's a customer of mine. I'm a client of hers. And we're friends. And I know that boundaries is always a good thing, but we really are pretty black and white with each other. Like there's no gray areas. And she, with the new website, she was like, you should start taking videos. And she had all these ideas of what I should do in videos. And I'm like, yeah, no. So I can be quite stubborn. And I was like, oh my goodness, really? And she's like, no, I'm serious. It's your face, you're the brand. And people need to see you. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I guess some of it was trusting her as well, that she knew what she was talking about, because her store is very successful. And when I needed, after I signed my lease, I reached out to her. And I said, okay, I need to talk to you about marketing again. I'm opening a store. So she came that August, about 2 months before launch. And I had the keys and we went into the boutique. It was completely gutted. You had to watch where you step because there were nails. And she filmed a video that we ended up, I don't even remember what the views were anymore, how many people saw it. And then the closer we got, we did a little smaller videos. And then there was a video of me saying, surprise, we will be open October 12th. But I remember the day after, so October 14th, Facebook always sends you like, here's your views. And I think for that week, I might be butchering this, but I have in my head, there was 25,000 engagement or 25,000 views and like 5,000 engagements. I think that's how they break it down. And I was like, whoa, it worked. Like social media marketing works. And even now, so I prefer my lives because I like talking on the fly. When I do those pre-recorded videos, I always end up sounding kind of commercially, and that's not really what I want. So I love doing my lives, because if I goof up, people are seeing, the real you, or I think I'm funny. And, my kids don't anymore, except my oldest now, she thinks I'm funny again. So, your little babies, they think you're funny. And then there's a while you're not funny, and now you're funny again. But anyway, I can be me. And if I say something wrong or say, because who doesn't say or oh, people know like it's a real person. I'm a mom, I'm a wife. Like some days are hard. Some days I have sassy pants on. I mean, whatever. But I still have people come in and they said, oh, I saw you on the TV thing, or well, then I know it's Facebook, or I saw your video. So that is because you don't always know, Facebook doesn't send you a list or anything of who sees it. They just let you know the number of views. So I would say then social media is definitely where a lot of business comes from. And word of mouth is great too. People will, if I have, like, for example, I have a product called Rescue Me Salve that I made when my son had really bad skin issues on his face, and they got cleared up within 3 weeks. I was putting it on him regularly. If there's like employees or coworkers, they talk, oh, my skin is so dry or blah, blah, blah. They send them to me. They're like, oh, Nessa will take care of you. So word of mouth is huge too. So.
And you're based in Marshall, Minnesota, right? That's where your
Yes.
brick and mortar is. So a fairly small town. I think there's 13,000 people in Marshall. So when we think about that, and your population of Marshall is that size, but your videos on social media are reaching 25,000 people, or they're being viewed 25,000 times, that's impressive. And to think about your social media, it reaches so many more people outside of your small community, more than, other traditional ways of advertising can reach people. I think that's something to be said in itself. To be able to see how many people that's reaching, that's got to be, empowering to make you keep wanting to do it.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It's fun. And I guess when you brought up credit, and I give credit to God, and I know like it's good to be humble. There's that old country song, "Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble." I have to laugh at that one. I'm really like, I don't brag or anything like that. I think confidence goes far, so I know I have confidence in myself, but I have a huge support system too. Again, husband, children, family, friends, employees. Like, we did a ladies' night a couple nights ago, and my employees were right there helping the customers that come in. So I like to give credit where it's due.
I think too, when you talk about the confidence side of it, I think it's refreshing for people probably to hear, like, you are extroverted, you're outgoing, but like you didn't even want to do videos at first, but you knew you needed to like grow your business, and you got, I'm assuming, more confident the more videos you started doing.
Right.
Would you have any advice for some other small businesses or rural businesses who know they need to do it, but they're being kind of slow to pull the trigger? How would you encourage them?
I think now with small businesses there's being such a huge push for small businesses, people want to know the person behind the brand. There's a mom out there who, she was probably just as frustrated and just upset over her child's skin issues as I was, and what is there that I can do about this? And I don't give the only credit I give to my Rescue Me salve is that it's made with love. And now it'll continue to be made with love because I have 2 other moms that work alongside me as we craft stuff. Everything is still handcrafted. So here's this jar. They could probably order something else on Amazon or whatnot, but there's this mom out there who, she made that for her son. There's another mom out there who, they are struggling because their child is uncomfortable, or his face was weeping and raw and red. And so we all have us business owners, we all have great products to sell. If you really want to stand out, stand up, put yourself behind that camera and stand up for your products. And that's what I realized it was. Like, a mom is not the only role I have. A business owner is not the only role I have, but you almost have to kind of get over yourself. And I'm not the funniest to everybody, and I'm not everybody's, cup of tea, and that's okay. Because I know the people that come in, they'll find me funny sooner or later. So no, that's definitely, and I'm not necessarily coached, where I haven't been hired as, but I have given my opinions to other small businesses that they need to get on video and they need to show people who they are.
Yeah, I like your advice. Get over yourself, and then accept the fact that you're going to attract the people that are supposed to come to you, and you might repel the ones who aren't, but that's like the point of it. Those are the customers you want anyways, and the people you're supposed to reach. So
right,
that's good advice.
Right. Thanks.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with repelling people. Like, I really see it as a benefit, because that's the whole point of advertising your product and getting in front of the people that want to buy your product. There's no use in getting in front of people that don't want to buy it. So I think repelling people is good for you, like if you really want to think about it that way and have an excuse to kind of like get out there and show yourself even more. Can you just tell us a little bit? I know that you touched on what it means to have a small business in a rural community, but maybe like some challenges that you feel like you face having a brick and mortar in such a rural area, or what are the benefits, besides the community support, what are the benefits of having a rural area to set up shop in?
Benefits for sure, like off the top of my head is there's a more safety factor. We don't have to worry. I mean, yes, lock your doors. Like, it's such an automatic thing. Like my employees laugh at me that if we're leaving the building together and they're locking it, I need to see them like pull the handle to show that it's locked. I mean, protect what you need to protect, but there's only been once or twice in the last 3 years that I've maybe felt uncomfortable with a certain customer that came in. Otherwise, I feel pretty safe. So feeling safe is obviously important. Another benefit to small businesses, I don't know if I want to go here yet. I'm still emotional. I lost my father this spring, and I had gotten a phone. I don't like to talk on the phone when customers are in. In fact, I'll actually hang up my phone call fairly quickly. But when I saw caller ID was the hospital, I was thinking it was my dad's nurse, but no, it was my dad's doctor. And I had a customer in, and I answered, and the doctor had basically said that we need to go and go see him. I am bawling in the store with a customer there. And she was so sympathetic, and she was like, oh, I'm like, I am sorry. And here, I can't talk about my father yet without not crying. But she's like, I'm so sorry. Don't even worry about it. So the caring factor that your customers in your community, you're small enough where they do care about you. So I think that would be the first and foremost above safety, is that people do care. So I ended up I had to wait until I called Amy, she came in, and I was able to leave right away. So, and then Terry and Amy, they covered, I didn't show up back at the store until like Saturday. The following Saturday, I was alone again. So they stepped up and they took care of the store, and flowers were delivered, and it was really sweet. It was really touching. People left me cards and stuff like that. So I would say that would be the best benefit. A negative attribute, or it's not really an attribute then, a negative aspect of having a small business would probably be, I have not yet been to a market where I go and see the brands I carry in person. Being the Twin Cities is 3 hours away from me, and I just put my trust into what I see on the online catalogs, that I know it's going to be good because they have a great reputation. Being a mom, it's hard to schedule time away. So with COVID and everything like that going on, shipping delays, supplies delayed, I've had to change packaging. My jars might have been a little bit different, or I had to change the color or something, just with the delays in that. So waiting for shipments to come in, being rural, but even if I was to go to market, I'd still have to wait for shipments. And another reason why I don't go to market is because I would want everything. And I only have 600 square feet for a display in the store. So can't have it all. So I always have to pick my favorites every season or every month or whenever I place my orders. So
I love it. I love hearing about your business and what you offer. I think that's also, a testament of having great community support in a product that not many people seek out anymore, or having a natural product. There's a lot of people that are all for it, but then there's other people that are like, well, I could just buy it at Walmart. or whatever the case may be. But to have that support in a small community or a rural area, I wouldn't really call Marshall a small community. I think that's a true testament to your business and how you're doing business. So that's excellent.
Thank you. I will say one thing. Years ago when Italy Ava, I remember Laura, the owner, a lot of sugar scrubs were sold through Italy Ava because the owners themselves love the products. And I remember Laura saying that she must have had a group of customers in or something, and people were like, I don't know if I was sold out of a certain scent or getting low on the, I call them sugar scrubs because, you know, everybody needs a little sugar. Anyway, side note, I remember her saying, someone was saying to her, you can't Pinterest this. And not everyone, like, you know, Rachel's a busy mom or Allison is a busy mom. They're both business owners too, or I don't make everything. I don't make hair care. I don't make sunscreen. There's a lot of things I don't want to get into because I don't have time. There's only 24 hours on a day, people, and I have to sleep during part of that. So, but I remember Laura telling me that people were saying, well, you can't Pinterest this. Like they even tried, you know, Pinterest has like different oils and sugars and scents that you put together. So I kind of gave myself a little pat on the back when she said that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Self-care has become, you know, like a really big buzzword in the past couple of years, and like, and it's very important. And I feel like your products and service fit right into that industry.
Right.
But this is a personal question. What's like self-care look like to you? Do you have a routine? Can you share that with us? How do you kind of give some time back to you when you are so busy as a business owner, mom, everything else?
Yeah. Does the person who pushed self-care do self-care?
Yeah.
Do I practice? So to me, self-care doesn't always, I realize it's not always about having a bubble bath, or, you know, you don't always have to buy self-care. So sleep is very important to me. I don't function well on getting less than a certain amount of sleep. So sleep is very important. And in ways that I enhance that is I love baths. So I will, you know, yes, I'm using my products in a bath. Blissful Bath is one of our #1 sellers again. And here I'm pushing a product when I'm talking about self-care, but sometimes you have to spend a little on self-care. So I love baths. I do wash your face, ladies, every night. Take off the makeup, take off the grime. And I make sure I wash my face. It feels good. You spend some time on your skin. To enhance sleep more, I do read. I have always been a reader of books since as early as I can remember. And I love actual books, but I also love books that are 900 pages. And let's face it, a Kindle is a wonderful invention. And I actually got the Kindle Black and White several years ago. So it looks like book pages more, but I know it doesn't really. I read an actual book. I just finished an actual book this week. So I'm always reading something, and I will read until my eyes feel heavy and I'm like, okay, I can't read anymore. And then I go to sleep. But self-care also, I am only 43. I am not ready to embrace the gray that I have a lot of. So I do schedule appointments with my beautician. I like to feel good. And again, it's for me. I like to look good. Again, it's for me. I also got into, again, I have monthly appointments with a massage therapist. Not getting any younger. You know, yesterday my legs were achy and I was like, oh my gosh. So that's another thing. Amy there's a reason she's called Sweet Amy. She got me a massage appointment this spring instead of giving me flowers after my dad passed, because she knew the importance on touch and relaxing. And believe it or not, this is the first time ever that I've gone to a massage therapist. I don't talk.
Oh.
I used to just talk and talk during a massage appointment. And it started as I didn't want to talk because then I would cry. And I'm paying the person for a service and they're giving me a service in return. And I haven't talked yet. And I had a couple appointments in April, May, June. I have yet to talk. And I let her know, like, she asked me, is this too deep? And I'm like, nope, fine. And that's all I say. So this is like the first, I'm growing up. I don't talk during, because I figured now, like, I'm paying for the service. They're not my therapist. I have friends, family, or if I need a therapist, I can talk to them. So it makes a huge difference. Like I have yet to fall asleep because I know people do fall asleep during massages, but I have a little bit more awareness than that. But I have been in a zone and it feels great. So
I love a good massage. I'm all for that.
Oh yeah. Well, I had my last massage before quarantine started last year. And then I didn't go back. And it was hard. I didn't, there's so many out there. And, I'm glad Amy took the reins and booked me an appointment. Because I'm like, you need to go to her. She's amazing. So.
I love that. If people want to follow you or learn more about your business, where can they go to do that?
So Nessa's Naturals is on Facebook, and on Instagram, my name there would be Naturalness. I think Nessa's with apostrophe S was taken years ago because I started it with there's pictures of my kids when they were little on Instagram. So, and I look back at the photos, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious of what I shared what year was that? 2011, 2012? I can't remember. And then, so Naturalness on Instagram. And I think those would be the two major. We just started TikTok. Amy does a lot of the posts on TikTok because she's much better at it than I am, and wonderful. And that would be Nessa's Naturals on TikTok. And website would be nessasnaturals.com.
Thanks for taking the time to chat with us today. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Well,
that's it for this episode of the Rural Rundown podcast.
Thanks for listening. You can always find us on social media at the Rural Rundown.
And if you really liked this episode, we would totally love it if you gave us a review and gave us a little rating.
It would mean so much to us. And for more small town roots and business savvy, catch us on the next one.